We tend to think of listening as, well, a passive thing, a soft skill, something you're either born with or you're not. But what if I told you that listening, really listening, is one of the biggest secret weapons you can have for success? Today, we're going to learn a method that turns confusing conversations into clues you can actually solve. So grab your magnifying glass, let's start the investigation.
To really get why this is so critical, let's just jump right into a scenario. It seems super simple, an everyday thing at work, but it's one of those moments where your entire reputation can pivot on just a few words.
Come on, you've been here, right? The phone buzzes, you see it's your boss, and they hit you with that question. Your brain just goes into overdrive. What's the right answer? Is it a trick question? It totally feels like a trap, probably because a lot of the time, it is.
And here's the problem. Both of the obvious answers can totally blow up in your face. If you say you're busy, you might sound defensive, like you can't handle more. But if you say you're not busy, well, now you might look like you're just sitting around. It's a classic lose-lose. So what do?
This is what you do. You stop thinking like an employee who has to give an answer, and you start thinking like a detective looking for a clue. That first question from your boss, that's not the real question. It's just the tip of the iceberg, and our job is to figure out what's really going on underneath.
So how do we actually do that? Well, every good detective needs a system, right? A way to organize the clues. And that's exactly what the three-box method is. It's a super simple but incredibly powerful framework for cracking the code of any conversation.
As you listen, all you have to do is mentally sort what you hear into these three boxes. Box 1 is for the emotion, the frustration, the urgency, the excitement. Box 2 is for the cold, hard facts, the stuff you could prove in court. And box 3, this is the big one, is for the expectation. What do they actually want you to do?
Let's start with box 1, because honestly, emotion is usually the loudest thing in the room, even when it's disguised. You have to get good at spotting what we'll call emotional road signs. These are specific words that are a dead giveaway the speaker is coming from a place of feeling, not pure logic.
And here are some of the classics. The second you hear words like always, every single time, or constantly, a little alarm should go off in your head. Because let's be real, nobody always does anything. And here's the key. When you hear these words, your job is not to argue with them. It's to recognize the feeling that's driving them.
Okay, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If someone is throwing these emotional words at you, how do you sift through it all to find the objective truth? Well, that brings us right to box number 2.
You can filter out the noise using this simple 4W checklist. Is the information specific? Can you answer who, when, where, and what? You see, a statement like, that client meeting was a complete disaster, that's pure emotion. But yesterday, Bob told the client our Q3 numbers were final when they were actually still preliminary. Now that is a fact. See the difference?
All right, so you're getting good at this. You've spotted the emotion, you've isolated the facts. But sometimes box 3, the expectation, is still totally empty. You still have no idea what they really want from you. When that happens, you need to pull out a more advanced technique. It's called the art of reverse narration.
The absolute worst thing you can do when you don't know what's expected is to guess. That's how you end up wasting a ton of time and making everyone even more frustrated. Instead, you narrate. You literally play back the story to them as you understand it, which helps them see what's missing.
And the process itself is this beautifully simple 3-step dance. First, you address the emotion you picked up from box 1. Second, you confirm the facts from box 2. And third, you use those two things to propose a concrete next step. This is the move that forces that hidden expectation right out into the open. Let me show you how it works.
So imagine your manager hits you with this. That emotional road sign forever is basically flashing in neon lights. Your gut reaction is probably to get defensive, right? To say, I just got this on Monday. But a detective doesn't get defensive. A detective starts sorting the clues.
So step 1, you go right at the emotion. Instead of defending your timeline, you say something like, I can hear this is causing some anxiety, and I'm sorry that my lack of updates made you feel that way. See what you did there? You're not admitting you're late. You're just acknowledging their feeling. This is like a magic wand for de-escalation. Okay, now that things are calmer, you pivot to the facts. You state your progress clearly. Just so we're on the same page, I'm about 80% done. And then, because box 3 is still a mystery, you ask a brilliant question to uncover it. Not a vague, what do you want, but a super focused, to get this over the finish line, what's the one part I should focus on right now?
And bam, there it is, the breakthrough moment. Your manager reveals that their stress has nothing to do with your speed. It's because your plan is holding up a way bigger project. You just found the hidden clue. They don't just want the plan done, they need one specific piece of it now so they can do their job.
And now you could just swoop in and close the case. You propose a super clear, specific action that solves their real problem. You give them a thing, and you give them a time. In just 3 steps, you've turned a potential fight into a productive, collaborative plan. That's the power of this.
This whole mental model is a game changer, but like any good detective, you're going to be even better with the right tools. And I'm not talking about some fancy app. I'm talking about simple, real-world habits that make the 3-box method second nature. Seriously, try this. Get a notebook, draw a line down the middle of the page. On the left side, you only write down the objective facts, the 4 W's we talked about. On the right, you jot down the emotions you're picking up, those road sign words, and your own gut feelings. It's the 3-box method, but on paper. So simple, but so effective.
Now you might be thinking, why a notebook? Why not my laptop? And look, it's a fair question. But using pen and paper does something a screen can't. It completely changes the energy in the room. It shows the other person you are 100% locked in, it lets you keep eye contact, and it frees you up to notice all the nonverbal stuff. Plus, science shows you'll remember way more. It's a huge sign of respect.
When you start combining this detective mindset with these simple tools, you're not just getting better at listening. You are developing what is, for all practical purposes, a professional superpower. You're learning how to cut right through the static and get to what really matters.
And at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. This isn't a trick to win arguments or just get information. It's about building genuine connection. When you use these techniques, what you're really saying is, I see you, I hear you, and I get it. And that is an incredibly powerful message to send.
Look, this isn't just some interesting theory. It's a practical skill you can start using the moment we're done here. In your very next meeting, your next phone call, your next conversation with anyone, start looking for the boxes. Start listening like a detective. What clues are you going to find?